My boyfriend wants a baby but he's infertile, so he wants his twin brother to get me pregnant and joke that it's not like he hasn't swapped and let his brother smash before. I'm at my breaking point. I, 29F, have been with my boyfriend, Toby, 34M, for a total of 5 years. For the past year, we have been trying for a baby with no luck, so eventually, we went for testing. I did, and I'm fine, so Toby went, and it turns out he is infertile. He was devastated. I was more optimistic, saying I was very open to adoption, but after a few weeks, he came to me with a suggestion. Toby has an identical twin brother, Tom, and yes, he wanted his brother to be the biological father of our baby. The thing is, his brother is a toxic jerk. He can never get past 3 dates with a woman because of his behavior. I've accepted that he will always be in our lives since he and Toby are very close. When I met Toby, Tom was working on the other side of the country, and I didn't even meet him in person for 2 years. But Toby is different when he's with Tom, he becomes kind of toxic too. After Tom moved back, he started making jokes about me, and they were really mean. Toby laughed and joined in with him. I'm normally quiet and non-confrontational, but I blew up at them, and they stopped. However, things haven't been good between Tom and me since, so I wasn't on board with Toby's suggestion. He brought Tom home with him one night to discuss it with me. I sat and listened, and then Toby made a joke about us making the baby the old-fashioned way because it was cheaper. I said, gross, no thanks, and then Tom said, how do you know we haven't already had sex? I looked confused, and he added, when you're drunk, you can't tell us apart, and we brothers like to share. I looked at Toby, and he was laughing and nodding. I told him I can tell them apart and that I know my boyfriend, but then Toby said that in the dark and while drunk, I wouldn't know. They implied this had happened before. I was furious. Then Tom made it worse by saying he wanted to be there to see our baby being born and that I shouldn't be embarrassed since he had seen me before. Then he winked at me. They were both laughing, and I just left and went to bed in the spare room. I was furious, and the next day, Toby kept it up, laughing and saying, oops, you didn't know which brother you had. Now, I know I can tell them apart, even though they do look very alike, but there have been about 4 or 5 occasions where we had sex when I was drunk and in the dark. Twice, it was in hotel rooms after friends' weddings, and the other times were just at home after hanging out with friends. So, I'm unsure. Also, during that awful conversation, Tom implied that he and Toby had switched places to cover for Toby but wouldn't say for what, hinting at cheating. As I said, I know them apart, but after 2 weeks of them keeping up these jokes, I started to second-guess everything. Eventually, I decided to go through all of Toby's devices. I needed to know if there was any truth to these jokes. I found a text exchange on his iPad where they appeared to be discussing hiding something, but it was vague, and the messages didn't go back very far. This has been eating away at me, and Toby is still continuing with this joke at this point. Eventually, I planned to get hold of his phone since I hadn't checked it yet. But as I was plotting, I realized the depths of paranoia, distress, and anxiety I had sunk to. The trust with Toby was gone. I told him straight that I was moving out to my friend's house and that if he continued to suggest he allowed his brother to assault me without my consent, I'd go to the police about both of them. He freaked out. He said it was just a joke and I was taking it too seriously. I couldn't deal with him, so I left and went to stay with a friend. I feel like I can't tell anyone why I left him, though. He's saying I'm being ridiculous and unreasonable and wants me to come home. He even said he'll overlook me threatening to go to the police. Am I being unreasonable? Am I blowing this out of proportion? I feel so confused that I don't know anymore. Strangely, Tom hasn't messaged or contacted me, and I expected nasty messages from him, but there's been total silence. What do I do? Update 1 month later. Just wanted to let you know that I couldn't get past his joke, and no matter how much we tried to talk, Toby wasn't taking any responsibility for the magnitude of what he said. It destroyed all the trust I had in him. I actually spoke to his sister and older brother, who are both low contact with the twins and their parents, and it's because of how the twins were favored over the other two. I learned a lot and that neither twin is really dominant, it's more that they are both dominant in different areas, and both can be toxic. It's not a case of Tom leading Toby in this. So, really, I decided that I didn't know Toby at all and that he wasn't willing to accept any responsibility for what he said. To me, there was no going forward. Toby is not taking the split very well and is becoming louder and more obnoxious. The surprise was a seemingly heartfelt, sincere apology from Tom, who said he knew he had taken it too far and didn't know Toby had kept the joke going. He said it wasn't even about me, but that he was enjoying having something over his brother. However, that doesn't fit with what actually happened in my mind, so I don't believe him. And that's the key issue, I don't believe either of them, and I never will again. So that's it, I'm done. I've completely moved out my stuff, and I'm still trying to make sense of any of it, but I can't yet. Am I overreacting by breaking up completely here? I can't see a way forward, and I'm no longer even willing to try. Edit. Just to clarify a few things, I did speak to the police after I initially left and after the responses on my first post here. They felt they couldn't do much, but they did speak to both twins. It was more of an informal chat than anything, and Toby was livid. Tom never mentioned it to me, so I don't know how he felt about it. Secondly, what Tom had over on Toby was that Toby needed him to have a baby. But again, they were totally tag-teaming me that day. It wasn't one of them against the other, so that was nonsense. Their parents reached out and were very angry that I took a joke so seriously. They seemed to think the worst thing the boys were guilty of was bad taste. I spoke to the siblings after that, and even though I had met them a couple of times, I didn't really know them as they kept their distance. Their brother was very helpful in helping me understand their dynamic, which, frankly, is creepy. He doesn't think they actually did share me, but only because they are complete cowards. They wouldn't do something that their parents couldn't bail them out of if need be. He says Toby is all about mind games, and looking at Toby in that new light, I could tell he was right. And that's one of the big issues here. It was the total messing with my mind and sense of reality. I had always avoided them together, but this baby thing brought them together in force and right in my face, and I got to see the true Toby. Toby is angry that I could think he would do such a thing, despite him telling me for weeks that he did exactly such a thing. He still wants to work it out, but I can't be anywhere near them. Thanks for the validation and a huge wake-up call, Reddit. I have a feeling none of this would have ended well for me, one way or another, if I had stayed.